Have you ever wondered what your mind does when you sleep? Where it goes, what it sees, and who, if anyone, is truly in charge of the dream theater behind your eyes? Maybe tonight is a perfect night to wander into that question, slowly, with a blanket around your shoulders and time itself stretching like warm taffy into the stillness. Perhaps, in the hush of this evening, we can slip softly into folds of sleep and peer gently into its most mysterious gift, the dream. Welcome to this quiet corner of curiosity, a place where thoughts unfurl like ferns and science whispers lullabies. If you're resting beneath a canopy of stars or nestled beside the rhythmic patter of rain on a rooftop, we're glad you're here. Let's take a slow breath together, and as your shoulders fall just a little more deeply into ease, feel free to like and subscribe, only if it feels right, to help more dreamers find their way here. Now, let's close our eyes a little tighter and step into that strange twilight between wakefulness and wonder, where thoughts blur and imagination lights its lantern. The journey begins with something as simple as a yawn, a sigh, a blink that doesn't open again. Long ago, before sleep was measured in cycles and dreams and scans, ancient storytellers believed the dream world was a realm in itself, visited by the soul as the body rested. People saw dreams as messages from the gods, visitations from spirits, or whispers from future. And while the modern brain has its own explanations, electrical pulses, shifting chemicals, ticking clocks deep in the thalamus, there's something enduringly magical about that older idea, that dreaming is a kind of travel, not through space, but through the self. Imagine lying in bed as a child, your room dim, a stuffed animal beside you, the covers a little fortress. Somewhere between the tick of a bedside clock and the drifting of your thoughts, you might remember the moment you first became aware that dreaming was a thing you did. Maybe it was a feeling of falling, the shock of running from something with legs that wouldn't work, or the magic of flying over rooftops that looked like toys. Your first remembered dream might have made no sense, but it made an impression. And one extraordinary thing even now to consider, that every night, without needing a map or ticket, we slip into stories spun from memory, fear, hope, and leftover thoughts like glowing threads in the dark. Tonight, as we drift together into the realm of dreams, let's peer gently into the sleeping brain itself. There's something quietly miraculous happening in your head right now, even as your limbs grow heavy and your breath softens. Beneath your skull lies a vast landscape of neural highways, glial gardens, and flickering electrical towns that never truly sleep. The brain at rest is anything but silent. In fact, it hums, pulses, and dances with more activity during certain dream phases than it does when we're awake. Isn't that curious? Let's imagine it now, not as a tangle of gray matter, but as a glowing city at night. Neurons light up like windows in tall buildings, some flickering as if their occupants are pacing inside. The hippocampus, the keeper of memories, gently files away the day's events, like a librarian whispering to herself. The amygdala, guardian of fear and emotion, pulses in the background, sometimes amplifying scenes, sometimes coloring dreams with strange hues of longing or fear. And then there's the prefrontal cortex, our wise planner and rational thinker, resting, mostly, which might explain why dreams can be so illogical and wild. Our inner editor is asleep at the desk. But what causes dreams to form at all? For that, we turn to REM sleep, rapid eye movement, the stage where most vivid dreaming happens. You may not feel it, but your eyes, under closed lids, are darting left to right, chasing something in a scene only your brain can see. REM is a puzzle box. Your muscles go limp, your body stills, but your brain becomes a theater of fireflies. This is when your mind begins to stitch together fragments of the day, your thoughts, your feelings, half-remembered songs, fears you didn't admit to yourself, and hopes you didn't realize you had, into a living, moving collage. It's as though a painter, blindfolded, is given your memories and asked to create a masterpiece by candlelight. One scientist once described REM sleep as a form of overnight therapy. During this phase, emotional memories are softened, processed, made gentler. The brain takes the sharp edges off sorrow, polishes joy, tucks away fears into quieter corners. That's why, perhaps, after a night of troubled dreams, we often wake feeling lighter, as if something invisible had been swept or aired out. And it's why, In the ancient wisdom of many cultures, dreams were believed to heal, to clarify, to guide. Where are you listening from tonight? What does the night look like outside your window? Is it quiet? Are there stars? Or the hush of rain, maybe the soft whoosh of a distant highway, like time flowing just out of sight? No matter where you are, know that the same gentle dream mechanics are working within you now, just as they did for Da Vinci, for Cleopatra, for cave dwellers whose only lullaby was the crackle of fire and wind. You are part of a lineage of dreamers as old as thought. Dreaming itself may serve many purposes. Some we understand, many we don't. Scientists believe dreams help us learn, process emotions, consolidate memory. Some say dreams are random noise, others that they're a rehearsal space of brain, a simulation chamber where we test out fears, practice responses, or even create art before we wake. And who's to say? Your mind might be rehearsing a speech, solving a puzzle, or simply painting abstract clouds just for the joy of it. Have you ever had a dream so vivid you weren't sure, upon waking, if it was real? That strange moment of disorientation, when your bedroom looks familiar but wrong, or when a person you haven't seen in years feels suddenly present again, as if summoned through thought alone. In those moments, it's almost as if the dream is reluctant to let go. Or perhaps, as some dream researchers suggest, the brain itself is negotiating a handover between realities. And what are the bizarre symbols? The melting clocks, the endless staircases, the teeth falling out, or being late for an exam you never studied for. These may seem like nonsense, but they're the language of the subconscious, not literal, but deeply personal. A lost train ticket might stand for missed opportunity or just indigestion. Fly might be freedom or simply wishful physics. There's no universal code, but there is meaning stitched softly into the scenes. Even the absence of dreams, nights that feel like nothingness, hold their own stories. Sometimes we simply forget. Sometimes the dreams are there, waiting just beyond reach. Sleep scientists say that everyone dreams every night. The trick is catching them, like fireflies in a jar, before they drift away with the dawn. Have you ever woken up laughing or crying? Those are the dreams that make it through, leaping the fence of forgetfulness. They leave behind whispers and moods that linger like fog in the morning. Maybe today you'll find yourself humming a tune you didn't know you knew, or thinking of someone out of the blue. Perhaps a dream nudged you, gently, before vanishing like smoke. Modern neuroscience continues to study the dreaming brain with glowing scans and precise instruments, but there remains something deliciously unsolvable about it all. No machine, no algorithm, no EEG wave can truly capture what it feels like to dream you're flying over your childhood street, or speaking with someone you've lost, or standing in a place you've never been yet somehow know. Dreams live in the space between science and story, between memory and magic. And so we wander through this nightly ritual, not fully awake, not entirely gone. Sleep carries us down into deeper layers, into NREM, slow wave sleep, the realm of stillness and repair. Here, the body heals, muscles knit, the immune system recalibrates. But the dreams, the vivid strange films, usually bloom in REM. That's a flickering cave of imagination where our mind turns itself inside out. Some researchers now believe that dreaming helps us be more creative, that the sleeping brain forms connections the waking brain might never dare. Famous inventors, composers, and writers have credited dreams with brilliant breakthroughs. The structure of the benzene ring, the melody to Yesterday, the plot of entire novels. As though in sleep, the mind wanders deeper into its own library and comes back with treasures. If you've ever kept a dream journal, you'll know how slippery dreams can be. One moment clear, the next crumbling like sugar in water. But sometimes, writing them down brings clarity. It turns the ephemeral into something shared, like carving your initials into a tree or whispering a secret into a jar. And now, as your breathing slows and the rhythm of your body begins to match the rhythm of these words, perhaps your own dreams are beginning to stir. The stage is being set behind your eyelids. The lights are dimming. The actors, your thoughts, memories, hopes, and half-buried wishes, are taking their places. Let us now linger a moment in that delicate veil called hypnagogia, that mysterious space between waking and sleep, where thoughts turn into images and reality begins to soften. This is where your mind releases its tight grip on control and starts to play. A color flashes behind your eyelids. A voice whispers your name. A shape becomes a thought and then dissolves before you can quite catch it. It's like standing at the edge of a lake at night, where stars ripple on the water, and it's hard to tell what is reflection and what is sky. Some call this the twilight state. Artists and writers have long sought to hover here, where logic gives way to inspiration and fragments of dreams slip into conscious thought like stray feathers drifting across a desk. Thomas Edison used a nap holding metal balls in his hands. So when he drifted into that early sleep stage and dropped them, the noise would wake him, right at the threshold of hypnagogia, so he could catch whatever ideas had formed there. He knew, as many creative minds do, that there is magic in the borderlands. It is here that sleep takes your hand more firmly. The lights of consciousness dim. The doors of the outer world close, and the orchestra of the brain begins its nocturnal performance. Brain waves slow. The alpha waves of wakefulness give way to the slow theta waves of light sleep, and later to the deep, rolling delta waves of true rest. Yet amid all this physiological unfolding, something else is happening, something far more poetic. You, dear listener, are falling not just into sleep, but into yourself. As we journey deeper into this dreamscape, let's pause to appreciate the incredible architecture of the sleeping brain. It is not one monolithic event, but a finely tuned symphony, divided into cycles, about 5 or 6 each night, each made up of stages that repeat and spiral down. Stage 1 is light sleep, when you may still hear the room around you, feel the bed beneath you, sense time gently tugging at your thoughts. Stage 2 introduces sleep spindles, bursts of brain activity that flicker like lightning bugs. They help you tune out external noise and stabilize the transition. Then comes stage 3, deep, slow wave sleep, the kind that heals, the kind your body craves when it is sore or sick or weary. In this stage, dreams are rare, but the repair work is profound. Growth hormone is released, muscles rebuild, the immune system fortifies its defenses. This is the territory of silence, the kind of sleep you don't remember but always feel. And then, after this plunge into the dark, you rise again toward REM, that strange, paradoxical state where the brain is buzzing, but the body is paralyzed. It's a safety feature, really, a built-in gate to keep you from acting out the dramas and dances unfolding behind your closed eyes. Imagine if we move with our dreams, chase the wolves, dove from rooftops, dance through corridors of fire. Our sleeping bodies are stilled so the dream can remain in the mind, safe and contained, like a candle flickering in a glass jar. But not everyone experiences this. Some people with a rare condition called REM sleep behavior disorder do act out their dreams, sometimes with startling intensity. It's a reminder of just how vivid and embodied dreams can be, how real they feel, even when we know they are not. The dreaming brain does not merely observe, it believes. And yet, for all their vividness, dreams often speak in riddles. A house with no walls, a familiar face with a stranger's voice, an endless fall. The symbols that populate our dreams are deeply personal, stitched together from memory, emotion, and the silent language of the subconscious. That's why no two dreams are alike, even if the theme is the same. Your dream of being lost is not the same as mine. Your mountain is not my sea. Still, across cultures and continents, some patterns seem to repeat. Falling, flying, being chased, taking a test, losing teeth. These are not merely oddities. They are metaphors rich with emotional resonance. The dream of falling may reflect loss of control, or simply the sensation of surrender. Flying often symbolizes freedom, or yearning, or joy. These motifs are woven into the human experience, encoded into our inner mythology. And what of lucid dreaming? That rare and shimmering state where you become aware that you are dreaming and can, at times, guide the story. It is not a trick or an illusion, but a skill, a dance between consciousness and the dreaming world. Some train for it, keeping dream journals, performing reality checks during the day, planting seeds of awareness before sleep. And when lucidity arrives, it can be euphoric. To walk through your dream world with intention, to paint the sky, fly through mountains, summon lost loved ones, It's a kind of freedom we rarely taste in waking life. Yet even in lucid dreams, the brain remains mysterious. Control is partial. The dream resists domination. It's as though it wants to tell its own story, shaped not by ego, but by something deeper, something quieter. You can ask a dream character their name, and they may answer with poetry, or silence, or something that feels like truth wearing a mask. As we continue wandering through the soft, glowing garden of sleep, let us pause and remember that dreaming is not a solitary act. It is something all humans do. In every country, in every culture, every night, someone is dreaming. Right now, as you listen to this, there are millions dreaming beside you across the globe. A child in Japan floats through a candy-colored sky. A grandmother in Ghana revisits her wedding day. A student in Argentina runs through an endless hallway toward an exam that never comes. The sleeping world is vast and shared, yet deeply personal. Each dream is a thread in the quilt of our humanity. What's the time in your corner of the world? Has the night grown deeper? Has your body softened further into rest? If you've begun to feel the dream fog creeping in, that's wonderful. Let it come. Let it swirl. But if you're still awake with me, curious and calm, let's keep going. There's something tender to explore in the connection between dreams and memory. The brain does not simply replay events. It reweaves them. It pulls threads from different moments, stitching together images and feelings into new combinations. This is part of memory consolidation, one of the brain's great nighttime tasks. What you learn today may be integrated into your mental library tonight, not as a copy, but as a story. And sometimes, your dreams give you a glimpse into that process. You might see your teacher dressed as a magician, or your friend from yesterday in your childhood bedroom. It's all part of the brain's quiet work, reshaping the raw clay of experience into something lasting. Even trauma leaves its imprint here. People who have lived through difficult events often dream in fragments, in loops, in heightened emotional tones. Nightmares are the mind's attempt to process what cannot be spoken, and with gentle care, even those darker dreams can transform. Over time, they can lose their sharpness, soften their edges, and become part of a healing narrative. The sleeping brain, then, is not passive. It is a storyteller, a healer, a quiet alchemist turning experience into insight. Every night, it spins its golden thread, and in the morning we rise changed, even if we don't remember why. Let us now turn our attention to dreams as they appear in art, myth, and history. From the dream visions of prophets and pharaohs to the surreal canvases of Dali and the dream journals of Jung, sleep has always been seen as a bridge to the divine, the unconscious, the unknown. Ancient Egyptians believed dreams were messages from the gods. The Greeks built dream temples for healing. In some cultures, dreams guide daily decisions, what to plant, where to travel, whom to trust. Artists often draw from dreams, not only for imagery but for emotion. Dreams bypass the filters of logic and deliver feelings in raw form. Longing, joy, terror, peace. That's what makes them powerful. That's what makes them linger. And dreams are not limited to humans. Mammals dream. Birds do too. Studies have shown rats dreaming of mazes they ran that day. Dogs twitch and whimper in sleep. Your cat may be chasing imaginary prey in her dreams. Dreaming is deeply biological, a brain's way of replaying, reordering, reimagining. Isn't it beautiful to think that dreaming links us not only to each other, but to all creatures who sleep? A silent communion of mind and night. As the soft edges of sleep continue to wrap around you, perhaps your own dreams are beginning to gather. They may come as mist, as memory, as moonlight. They may carry nonsense or wisdom. They may be silent. That's all right too. Sometimes the greatest gift of sleep is not the dream itself, but the peace that dreams make possible through the gentle corridors of the sleeping mind, where even silence has texture and time forgets itself. Perhaps now, as the darkness deepens and the soft hush of night pulls more firmly at the seams of your awareness, we can step still further into the dream's embrace, into the oldest questions, the quietest mysteries, the places where thought becomes feeling and memory becomes mist. There is something timeless about dreams, something that exists beyond the ticking of any clock. Scientists have tried to measure the length of a dream and found that, While REM periods may last for minutes or even up to an hour in later cycles, the experience inside the dream often feels elastic. A moment might stretch across imagined hours. A glance might unfold into a narrative. Time in dreams is not fixed, it is felt. And that difference, that bending, is part of what makes a dream world feel so distinct. It mirrors life but does not obey it. It echoes reality but hums with its own strange music. Have you ever had a dream where you knew it was a dream, yet didn't mind staying in it? Or perhaps you've experienced that sudden shock, waking up from a dream that felt so right, so beautiful, that returning to the waking world felt like leaving something precious behind. These moments linger, like the fading warmth of sunlight after a swim. They are reminders that dreams, while not real in the material sense, are deeply, achingly real to us in the moment. They touch the same places in the brain as memories, as emotions, as hopes. The heart doesn't know the difference. And that opens an even more curious door. Can dreams change us? Can the stories we live behind closed eyes influence who we become when we're awake? There's growing evidence that they can. People have awakened with new clarity, with softened anger, with creative insight they did not possess the day before. Some have confronted fears and dreams they could not face in life. Some have found comfort, even reunion with those they've lost. The sleeping brain, in its freedom, can sometimes go where the waking mind cannot. Imagine, if you will, that your dreams are a nightly conversation between parts of yourself that do not always speak during the day. Your logic speaks with your longing. Your curiosity meets your sorrow. Your memories float beside your wonder. And the result is not a dialogue in words, but in symbols, in images, in surreal landscapes where meanings shift and melt. That conversation might not be one you remember in the morning, but your brain remembers. Your body remembers. You wake changed, even slightly, like a pebble added to the stream of who you are. It's a gentle magic. And it's happening now. The brain during sleep becomes a sculptor. As your body lies still, it chisels away the noise of the day, refining and reinforcing the pathways of what matters. It deletes, too, prunes unneeded data, like trimming a garden so the flowers can breathe. It's a strange balance, remembering and forgetting, both happening at once. That's why sleep is so essential for learning. You don't just absorb information while awake. You integrate it while you sleep. Children sleep more than adults, and they dream more, too. Their brains are forming vast connections at incredible speed, and their dreams may reflect this creative storm. Maybe that's why childhood dreams are often so vivid, so wild, so emotionally saturated. They're the dreams of builders, laying down the scaffolding of mind and memory. And in old age, the patterns shift again. Sleep becomes lighter, REM shorter, yet dreams persist. They change, grow quieter, sometimes more reflective. Often, the themes return to early life. Childhood homes, parents long gone, places not visited in decades. It is as though the brain, sensing its own chronology, begins a kind of gentle pilgrimage back through its history, leaving footprints in dream dust. Even across cultures, the dream has long been seen as a form of travel. In Aboriginal Australian traditions, the dream time is not just a sleep state. It's a sacred realm, the very foundation of reality, where ancestral spirits shaped the land and laid the laws of being. To dream, in this view, is not just a rest. It is to connect with the fabric of the world itself. In Tibetan Buddhism, dream yoga is practiced as a spiritual discipline, an effort to awaken within dreams and use them as a path toward enlightenment. In these practices, the dream becomes a mirror, a lesson, a tool. What would it mean, after all, if you could walk through your own illusions and remain aware, remain calm, remain open? And yet, for all these grand ideas, the science of dreams remains deeply humble. The machines can scan, the data can be charted, but the content, the texture, the story, the feeling, is yours alone. A dream is one of the few truly private things we experience. No one can see it but you, and even you can't hold on to it for long. It slips through fingers like breath, like mist, like a whisper you heard in a half-lit room. Some researchers have tried to decode dreams with algorithms, hoping to find patterns in imagery and emotion. They've used artificial intelligence to guess what a person might be dreaming based on brain activity. And while the results are promising, there's something comforting in knowing that the dream still resists total capture. It still belongs, most of all, to the dreamer. There's even a kind of etiquette to dreaming, an unspoken rule we feel but don't articulate. We rarely judge dreams too harshly. We understand their logic. We forgive their chaos. You would not blame a friend for a strange dream they had. Why blame yourself? The dream world is not a courtroom. It's a garden. Things grow there that can't grow elsewhere. Wild, strange, luminous things. So if your dreams are strange or sad or nonsensical, welcome them. If they frighten you, sit with them. If they delight you, savor them. They're your brain's nighttime poems, written in a language no one fully understands, but everyone knows. Sometimes, when people dream together, sleeping side by side or even far apart, they report strangely similar experiences. Dreaming of water on the same night, dreaming of the same forgotten song. There's no scientific explanation for this, only awe, a quiet, shivering awe that we may be more connected than we know. And connection is, in many ways, what dreams are about. They connect past to present, fear to courage, longing to peace. They connect you to yourself, and sometimes they connect you to something greater. Perhaps that's why the most moving dreams are often the simplest. A quiet conversation, a walk through an old forest, a hand reaching out in the dark and finding yours. These are the dreams we carry with us, sometimes for years. They become part of us, shaping the way we remember, the way we feel, the way we move through the world. And maybe as you lie here now, with your thoughts beginning to soften and stretch into the distance, you're beginning to feel the veil lift, the outer world fading, the inner world brightening, your body anchored in the warmth of your bed, your mind adrift in the sky of its own making. There are still more places to explore, more mysteries of the sleeping brain, more science woven with wonder. So if you're still with me, still listening with one foot in the waking world, and the other already slipping into sleep, let us continue just a little further into this soft terrain where the mind becomes both traveler and map, and every dream is a path only you can walk. Like a silver mist curling through a forest before dawn, soft and beckoning, never quite still, we drift with it, you and I, into the deeper workings of the dreaming brain, into the hush of neural alchemy, where thoughts are transmuted and the self becomes porous, a door opening inward. As we descend further into sleep's embrace, let us pause and marvel at something quietly astonishing: the brain's capacity to not only build dreams but to believe them. In waking life, you question things, you test reality, notice inconsistencies, double-check what's real. But in dreams, when your child at home sits atop a moving train and your best friend speaks with the voice of your grandfather, all feels perfectly normal. Why? What turns off that internal skeptic? The quiet inner narrator who says, "Wait, this doesn't make sense?" It's the prefrontal cortex again, our calm, reasoning lighthouse, dimmed during REM like a lantern wrapped in gauze. Its soft glow no longer interrogates the impossible. It lets the mind wander, unchallenged, into absurdity. And so we believe, for a little while, in the logic of the dream, a logic made not of rules but of feelings. Emotions become architects. Memories, the building blocks. Desires, the paint on the walls. And this is perhaps the most mysterious power of dreaming. It lets us feel, deeply, strangely, sometimes beautifully, sometimes achingly, all without consequence, and often without memory. A kind of emotional rehearsal room, where you can try on grief like a coat, or courage like a mask, or joy like a river you step into. What a peculiar, marvelous system. This inner theater that stages a new play every night, without audience, without script, yet with such intricate staging that it leaves you changed by morning. And though dreams often vanish upon waking, their fingerprints linger, a softened edge to a hard thought, a sudden tenderness for someone long forgotten, a flicker of curiosity that was not there the night before. There's a special kind of dream, too, the recurring dream, the one that visits like an old friend, or perhaps like a puzzle, a place you return to again and again, a hallway, a city, a shoreline. each time slightly different, but familiar enough to feel like your own private landscape. Some researchers believe recurring dreams arise when a theme remains unresolved in the psyche, an emotion or memory that seeks integration. Others suggest they're just the mind's way of expressing its fondness for a certain shape or symbol. Whatever the reason, they are part of your unique dream fingerprint, a signature only you carry. And speaking of symbols, have you ever dreamt water? It's one of the most common dream motifs in the world. Oceans, lakes, rain, floods, bathtubs, waves. Water in dreams is often tied to emotion, to the subconscious itself. It flows, it overwhelms, it cleanses. To dream of still water may suggest peace. To dream of drowning may hint at overwhelm. But water is never just one thing. It is what you need it to be. And perhaps that's what makes dreams so powerful. They become mirrors, bending to show you not just what you see, but how you see. Dreams often carry echoes of things unsaid. That argument you didn't finish. That question you never asked. That longing you tucked away. In dreams, the unfinished can be relived, reimagined, or resolved. The mind, untethered, can circle back and find a new ending, or simply float in the unresolved without fear. There's no pressure in a dream to fix everything, just to feel it. And yet, not all dreams are gentle. Some startle us awake, leave us shaken, hearts racing. Nightmares, sharp-edged dreams that seem to rise from darker depths. They can be born from anxiety, from trauma, from the quiet fears we carry like stones in our pockets. But even nightmares serve a purpose. They draw attention. They sharpen awareness. They're the brain's storm warning, vivid, sometimes overwhelming, but always meaningful. What's curious is that the same mechanisms that produce nightmares also generate healing. In some forms of therapy, dreams are invited, explored, listened to. They become guides, not ghosts. Soldiers with PTSD may process combat experiences through recurring dreams that slowly shift over time, from chaos to coherence. Survivors of loss may find comfort in dream visits from the departed. In these dreams, healing begins not with forgetting, but with witnessing. And witnessing is something the dreaming brain does very well. It watches without interference. It holds a space where contradictions can coexist. Joy and fear, memory and fantasy, sorrow and laughter. Where else can you meet your childhood dog? Walk through the city of your dreams and find that both are part of the same story. Some dreams feel cinematic, rich in detail, lit like a film, scored with music. You wake and wonder how your brain pulled that off. No one else wrote that soundtrack. No one else built that city. It was all you. Your brain, during sleep, becomes director, writer, set designer, composer, and audience. And it does it all while your body rests in stillness. And as we lie here, drifting ever deeper, it's worth considering how this nightly creativity might ripple into the waking world. Artists, musicians, scientists, they've all drawn from dreams. Some of humanity's greatest breakthroughs were dreamed before they were realized. The sewing machine's design, Einstein's insight into relativity, Paul McCartney's melody for Yesterday. The dream is not just a retreat. It is a forge. There's also the collective dreaming that happens when groups of people dream under the same stars. In times of collective fear, wars, pandemics, upheavals, people often report similar dream themes. The dreaming brain responds not just to personal, but to the collective. It senses what is swirling in the air, what is unspoken in the crowd. It becomes a tuning fork for human feeling. And so, in this way, the dreaming brain is not separate from the world. It is intimately connected. It processes the world's sorrows. It rehearses the world's hopes. It catches the whispers we miss during the day. Now, perhaps your own dreams are beginning to edge closer. Perhaps your body is heavier now, warmer, quieter. Your mind, slower, a soft fog around your thoughts. The story of your day dissolving, a new story forming, just behind your eyes. What will it be tonight? A memory remade? A wish explored? A question answered not in words, but in movement, in color, in symbol? There is still more to explore, if you'd like to stay with me. Still more corners of the sleeping brain to wander through. But if you're ready to let go and float into your own dream stream, that's just as welcome. You'll find the same wonder there. Into the quiet heart of sleep's deepest chambers, where even thought has grown drowsy and sensation stretches like warm honey in the dark. Here, in this slow drifting tide, the brain becomes more than just a thinker. It becomes a wanderer, a listener, a dreamer adrift in a boundless sea of memory and metaphor. Let us now look gently at the science of sleep cycles, not with cold calculation, but with the warmth of understanding, like learning the breathing patterns of someone you love. Each night, your brain travels through cycles, for 6 of them, each about 90 minutes long. Within each cycle, you descend and rise again through different stages of sleep, light, deep, and REM, each with its own music, its own purpose. Early in the night, your sleep is deep and restorative, filled with slow-wave silence. Later, closer to dawn, REM reigns longer, dreams more vivid, stranger, more emotionally charged. And it is in those final hours, when the body is utterly still and the night is beginning to fade, that the brain does some of its most extraordinary work. It replays scenes from the day not as they were, but as they mattered to you. It reassembles faces, reorders events, sprinkles in fragments of imagination and hidden meaning. The lines between past and present, self and other, begin to dissolve. And what is left is not memory, it is story. Your brain is a born storyteller. Every night it weaves a new tale, even if you don't remember it. It tells stories not for entertainment, but for survival, for healing, for hope. Stories are how we understand the world. And dreams are our mind's raw stories, spoken in a secret tongue. They help us process sorrow, celebrate joy, integrate confusion, and even prepare for challenges we haven't yet faced. Some researchers believe that dreams offer an evolutionary advantage, that by dreaming of threats, being chased, being lost, falling, we rehearse danger safely. Our ancient ancestors may have dreamed of predators or storms, and learned to react more swiftly when awake. And perhaps we still do. Your dream of missing a flight or forgetting your lines may not be prophecy. It may be practice. But dreams are not only built from fear. They are also crafted from wonder, from longing, from small joys that the waking mind may have overlooked. A breeze through a curtain, the smell of a loved one's shirt, the sound of a distant train at night. These fragments are collected and stitched into the fabric of dreams, like quilt squares made of memory. Sometimes, in dreams, we find what we didn't know we needed, a moment of forgiveness, a reunion, a question answered with a simple gesture. Some dreams feel like gifts, even if we don't understand them. You might wake with a feeling of peace, of having been somewhere meaningful, even if the details have dissolved. That is the dream doing its work, behind the scenes, beneath the surface. And there's something almost sacred in that every night, without instruction, your brain carries you into this realm and brings you back again, safe, changed, renewed. And it does this night after night, year after year, whether you notice or not. There are those who fear sleep, who dread dreams. For some, the night brings more than rest. It brings a weight of memory, the echo of trauma, the unrest of the mind. And yet, even here, even in darkness, there is hope. Therapies now exist to help reshape dreams, to gently transform nightmares into narratives of strength. Techniques like image rehearsal therapy or lucid dreaming training offer tools to the frightened dreamer, because even the deepest night can be softened by understanding. Even the wildest dream can be rewoven with care. And for those who do not dream, who do not remember or cannot recall, there is comfort in knowing that the process still happens. The dreams still unfold. The brain still journeys. You do not need to see the stars to know they are shining. You do not need to remember the dream for it to have mattered. What, then, is a dream, really? Is it a memory's echo? A rehearsal? A reflection? A riddle? Perhaps it is all of these. Or perhaps it is none. Perhaps a dream is simply the mind's way of whispering to itself, telling stories in the only language it knows when the world goes quiet. And as your own world grows quieter now, as your limbs melt deeper into bed, as your breath moves slow and deep and your eyes flicker beneath their lids, maybe your own dream is starting to form. You won't need to guide it. Just let it arrive, like a visitor at your window, tapping gently, or a fog rolling in from a distant sea. If you were to drift now into a dream of your own making, what might you find? A house you've never been to but somehow know? A conversation you've been waiting years to have? A landscape painted in colors that don't exist when you're awake? The mind knows how to build such things. It does so every night. And when you return, whenever you do, you may carry something with you. Not a memory, perhaps, but a shift, a feeling, a softness, a question. And that is enough. That is more than enough. Because dreaming is not about answers. It is about the space to ask without needing to be right, to feel without explanation, to wander without destination, to be, for another gentle step deeper, another breath softer than the one before. As your body nestles further into stillness and the edges of wakefulness begin to blur like fog over water, we drift onward, slowly, calmly, into the tender architecture of dreams, into the quiet, astonishing truth that while we sleep, we are not idle at all. We are traveling, healing, remembering, and feeling in ways we barely understand. Let's imagine now, if you will, the sleeping brain not as a machine or a laboratory, but as a library by candlelight. Each night, the librarian, your mind, tiptoes through the stacks of memory, emotion, and thought. It selects volumes from today and yesterday, maybe even from years ago. It pulls ideas from different shelves, scribbles notes in the margins, binds them together with threads of curiosity, and then it begins to write something new. This is what a dream can be. Not simply a reflection of what happened, but a reweaving, a tapestry that stretches backward and forward in time. In this candlelit library, your brain does its quiet work of understanding. It isn't always logical. It isn't always pretty, but it is deeply, profoundly human. Take, for instance, the emotional heart of dreaming. Studies have shown that REM sleep plays a key role in processing feelings. The same brain regions that light up when we cry or laugh in waking life are active during dreams. But during REM, there is a curious shift. Stress hormones like noradrenaline drop, even while emotion-related circuits fire away. It's as though the brain is replaying our emotional experiences in a safe, softened space, rehearsing them, defanging them, placing them gently into context. And what a kind gift that is. Imagine reliving your hardest moments not with the raw sting of first experience, but with compassion. Distance, a kind of emotional dusk light, where shadows are long and soft-edged and nothing feels too sharp to touch. Dreams can be like that. They allow us to look again, gently, at the things that were too much to bear in daylight. But dreams are not always heavy. Sometimes they are delightfully strange. A flying whale, a conversation with your childhood pet, a forest made of doors. These surreal gifts are part of your brain's endless creativity. Freed from logic, released from physics, your sleeping mind can make metaphors into realities. It can ask, what if, and then answer without needing proof. Even language itself shifts in dreams. Have you noticed? You might speak fluently in a tongue you've never studied. You might understand a gesture or a symbol as clearly as if it were spoken. Dream language is not bound to grammar. It is intuitive, emotional, poetic. It speaks to the part of you that feels before it thinks. And when we awaken, even if we don't recall the details, we sometimes carry that poetry with us. A new way of seeing, a peculiar phrase stuck in your head, a feeling that lingers like scent on fabric. These are the fingerprints of dreams, delicate and invisible, but no less real for their softness. There's even a scientific term for that dreamy in-between space as you wake. Hypnopompia, the mirror twin of hypnagogia, a threshold, a doorway. The mind rises slowly from a dream, like a diver ascending through layers of water. And sometimes, if you wake just right, you can catch a glimpse of the dream still drifting upward, like seaweed in sunlight. Have you ever lingered in bed, eyes closed, hoping to return to a dream? That longing is the dream's echo, the emotional residue left behind. It means your brain was doing something that mattered. Maybe it helped you say goodbye, or remember something important, or feel something you needed. Let's wander, too, into the ways dreams shape identity. Across time, People have found purpose and transformation through dreams. Some have received callings, felt truths, or made decisions they could not have reached while awake. In stories and myths, the dream is a teacher. In psychological theory, it is a mirror. In neuroscience, it is a function. And in your own quiet night, it is a companion. Even in the realm of illness, dreams can offer meaning. People nearing the end of life often report vivid, comforting dreams of deceased loved ones, of warm light, of peace. These dreams, known as end-of-life visions, are not hallucinations. They are tender experiences, often described with clarity and emotion. They offer comfort. They prepare the soul. They remind us that dreaming, like breathing, continues until the very end. And for new life, too, consider infants sleeping most of the day, eyes fluttering in REM. What could they be dreaming? Not of stories, surely, but perhaps of sensations, of warmth, of heartbeat, of sound. REM sleep is abundant in babies, their brains busy sculpting the first architecture of consciousness. Dreaming, even before memory, is part of being alive. Now, perhaps you're wondering why we forget our dreams so easily. You are not alone. It is one of sleep's quiet mysteries. Even vivid dreams often slip away moments after waking. It may be due to the brain's shifting chemistry, the memory consolidating hippocampus less active during REM. Or it may be that dreams are designed not to be stored but to be felt, experienced, then let go, like waves passing under a boat, gently altering the course without leaving a trace. And so, we do not remember most of what we dream, but the dream remembers us. It marks us, shapes us, affects our mood, our choices, our sense of meaning. It is the dream's gift, and it is freely given. If you've ever shared a dream with someone else, you know how strange and intimate it feels. I had the weirdest dream, we say, and we laugh or pause or try to explain. Even when the words fall short, we know we are trying to share something real, something deeply ours. Dreams make us storytellers. Every morning is a chance to awaken with a new tale. Whether you speak it or keep it to yourself, your dream is part of your inner mythology, your brain's nightly creation, born without effort, kept for a moment, then set free. And now, as the silence deepens and your body slips further into rest, maybe you're almost ready to dream again. Your own stories are waiting just beyond the veil. You don't need to force them. They'll come, like tide to shore, like light behind your eyelids, like a thought just before it becomes feeling. There's still time to linger here, in this quiet space between word and wonder. If you like, we can keep going just a little longer. There's always more to discover in the sleeping brain, always another secret softly glowing in the folds of thought. Shall we follow the next one together? The night is long and kind, and the path ahead is gentle, like a winding ribbon of moonlight laid across the hush of your thoughts. We'll follow it slowly, with no need to rush, because here in the heart of dreaming, there are no clocks, no obligations, no shoulds or musts. Only drift, only breath, only wonder. As we move into this last gentle stretch of our nighttime exploration, let us look inward still, at the vast and quiet ways dreams can mirror not just our minds, but our very sense of self. Dreams do not obey borders or walls. They do not care for categories or names. In a dream, you might not be quite yourself, or perhaps you are more fully yourself than ever before. You might be younger or older, or in a body that doesn't match your waking one. You might speak a different language, feel a different kind of love, see the world through different eyes. And yet, you are always there. Some thread, some essence of you, woven through the scene like a glimmer in fabric. This sense of continuity in dreaming is curious, isn't it? Even when the story makes no sense, we often still know, this is me. The dreaming self may wear different clothes, different faces, even different forms, but the core remains, unspoken but unmistakable. This quiet truth, that we are more fluid than fixed, is something dreams understand well. They remind us that identity isn't a box, it's a river. Sometimes calm, sometimes rushing, always flowing. And in dreams, we are free to drift without fear of losing the shore. We are not bound by roles or expectations. We are only presence, only feeling, only being. And perhaps this is why dreaming feels so intimate, because it meets us where we are not performing. We are not curating or posing or explaining. We are simply living, raw and unfiltered, in the landscapes of our own making. Let us pause here for a moment and imagine something quietly magical. That maybe, just maybe, your dream tonight is waiting for you already. That somewhere in the folds of your mind, a scene is gently forming. A room full of warm light, a path beneath glowing trees, a hand outstretched in welcome. Maybe it's a place you've never been, or a place you always return to. Maybe it holds something you've longed for, but didn't know how to ask. The dreaming brain does not need permission to create these places. It simply begins when the time is right to unfold its story, one image at a time, one whisper, one flicker of memory. And suddenly you're there, walking through a world no one else can see, but which feels more real than anything your eyes have ever shown you. In that world, you may laugh, or fly, or find something precious you didn't know you'd lost. And when you wake, you may not remember the dream, but you will carry its softness, like dew on your skin, like the scent of rain on pavement long after the storm has passed. And so, dear listener, with the night deep around you and the rhythm of rest pulling like a tide, perhaps you are already half dreaming. That's perfectly all right. Let the thoughts that remain become distant. Let the waking world fade like the last light at twilight. You are safe. You are still. You are exactly where you need to be. If your eyes are closed, let them stay closed. If they are not yet, you may close them now, gently, as if shutting the cover of a favorite book you'll open again tomorrow. Feel your body now, how heavy it has become, how perfectly anchored to this moment. The day has gone quiet. The world has grown soft. There is nothing more to do but breathe and drift and allow your own story begin again. And when your dreams arrive, as they will, they may bring you images or feelings, or maybe just a quiet comfort of rest. However they come, know that they are your mind's gift to you, a nightly letter written in the language of the soul. So sleep, gentle dreamer. Sleep in the hush of knowing. Sleep in the warmth of wonder. The brain will watch over you. The dreams will come softly. And when morning finds you, it will do so with light fingers and new beginnings, like a whisper that says, "You made it through the night. And here you are, resting now in the very stillness where thought no longer pushes forward, where the soft tide of dreams has taken over the current, and all that's left is the quiet motion of breath, of heart, of gentle being. There is nothing more to explain and nothing left to name, only this, that you are here and the night is holding you like a lullaby made of stars." Perhaps, before the dream becomes too deep for words, we can pause in gratitude for this wondrous, sleeping mind, this strange and beautiful part of you that works even while you rest, that sorts and tends, that heals and feels, that imagines new worlds in men's old wounds, that remembers who you are even when you forget, that gathers the fragments of thought and weaves them into meaning. Tonight, you may travel through skies of impossible color. You may return to a place you haven't seen in years. You may float, or run, or simply rest within a dream that feels like home. And whether you wake remembering it or not, know that something within you is always listening, always learning, always becoming. This, too, is what it means to be human. To close your eyes and trust the brain to cradle you. To accept the soft unknowing of dreams, the healing confusion, the silent insights that arrive like dawn through the curtains. You do not need to understand it all. You only need to allow it. Like clouds passing across a moonlit sky, like a breeze shifting through the trees. It is already happening. So now, the night stretches out around you. Quiet, vast, kind. The story has ended, but your own is just beginning again behind your closed eyes. Let yourself slip beneath that final layer, where words dissolve and the dream begins to write you. Sleep now, dear mind. Sleep, resting now in the very stillness where thought no longer pushes forward, where the soft tide of dreams has taken over the current, and all that's left is the quiet motion of breath, of heart, of gentle being. There is nothing more to explain and nothing left to name, only this, that you are here and the night is holding you like a lullaby made of stars. Perhaps, before the dream becomes too deep for words, we can pause in gratitude for this wondrous, sleeping mind, this strange and beautiful part of you that works even while you rest, that sorts and tends, that heals and feels, that imagines new worlds in men's old wounds, that remembers who you are even when you forget, that gathers the fragments of thought and weaves them into meaning. Tonight, you may travel through skies of impossible color. You may return to a place you haven't seen in years. You may float, or run, or simply rest within a dream that feels like home. And whether you wake remembering it or not, know that something within you is always listening, always learning, always becoming. This, too, is what it means to be human. To close your eyes and trust the brain to cradle you. To accept the soft unknowing of dreams, the healing confusion, the silent insights that arrive like dawn through the curtains. You do not need to understand it all. You only need to allow it. Like clouds passing across a moonlit sky, like a breeze shifting through the trees. It is already happening. So now, the night stretches out around you. Quiet, vast, kind. The story has ended, but your own is just beginning again behind your closed eyes. Let yourself slip beneath that final layer, where words dissolve and the dream begins to write you. Sleep now, dear mind. Sleep